Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode of Truth Bumps. I'm Devin Evans, your host, where each week we share topics that help us connect to ourselves and get ourselves more acquainted and more intimate with what's going on in the paranormal and psychic abilities. So, welcome. So glad that you could join. Hi, Julie. Hi, Nida. Hi, Danny. Thank you, everyone. So truth bumps, the whole spirit of truth bumps is that when you are sitting there and you're receiving information and you hear something that you just resonate with and your soul is like, yes, that is true. I don't know how it's true. I don't care to know how it's true. I just know that it is. And in that moment, you get those tingling sensations down your body. That's what I have come to call truth bumps. So welcome to join me tonight where we're talking about spirit guides. And we are sharing a little bit more about what spirit guides are and having an open discussion about your experiences with spirit guides. So we'll cover all the different kinds of spirit guides, why, who has a spirit guide, why we have spirit guides, and how to develop a more of a relationship with our spirit guides. So as we begin, if you have any experiences that you want to share, I would love to hear them and share them with the community. So just go put them in the comments if you would like to add anything. So what is a spirit guide? And who has a spirit guide? First, I want to start off with who has a spirit guide. Everybody has spirit guides, plural. So even on those days where we're just having a really hard time picking ourselves up from a negative experience, our spirit guides are right there with us, and helping us, guiding us through our life events and helping us with what we agreed on the other side we wanted to accomplish in this lifetime. So everyone here has a spirit guide. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Scotty. I know it's so formal with my first and last name, but it has such a ring. Hi, Greg. Hi, brother. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Nida. So now that we know that all of us have spirit guides, what are spirit guides or who are spirit guides? So there's different spirit guides, different kinds of spirit guides for different purposes. And through daily practice, we have the ability to connect with each one, or we can just simply take comfort and faith knowing that they're there, helping us and guiding us. So the different types of spirit guides. The primary type of spirit guide is what we call transitioned beings. These are souls that transition to the other side, maybe from a past life that we shared together or just from their last lifetime. And instead of reincarnating into a new life, they have been assigned to us or we agreed to work with them, and they have chosen to be our spirit guide in this lifetime. So what this means is this can be someone that you have shared a past life with, or it could just be someone that well complements and has the gifts and the ascension in the areas of life that you are trying to work with in this lifetime. So I have heard several people know that they once they started to develop a relationship with their spirit guides, that they actually had previous lifetime relationships with them. So it's not uncommon, but it's not necessary. Regardless of whether it's a past lifetime relationship or not, you know that it's always out of love and respect, and you guys have actually spent some time together agreeing to what you wanted to accomplish in this life before you actually came here. That's your primary lifetime spirit guide, the one thing or the one guide that's with you from start to finish and with you every step of the way, helping you out. So Being a spirit guide on the other side is actually quite an honor. This means that someone has gotten to a certain level of ascension. Like I said earlier, they've got the experience in the areas that you want to work on to be able to guide you. So it's really like a mentor, like a teacher, a guide. So they're not just pulling people off the street to guide you at a museum. It's someone who's taken the time to learn the steps and the information. If you go to a museum, and you want someone to share with you what's going on in the building, your spirit guide is doing the same thing, only for your life and the different events of your life. So spirit guides are paired with us because they either have complementary strengths or weaknesses. It just depends. So a basic example is if you find that you're always late to appointments, you might be paired with a spirit guide that's quite punctual, and who's trying to help you to also learn how to be punctual and practice that as a strength. Or it could be the opposite, that you're paired with a guide that has had issues with being punctual in the past, and so you have agreed to work on this together because there's an opportunity to work with each other on that strength together. Our guides are always here for our healing and for our spiritual growth. They are often souls who know us better than we know ourselves in this lifetime, only because once we get here, there's several filters in place to prevent us from immediately understanding what we want to try and work on. And then we also have, like, just the energetic qualities of this planet alone is very dense and very prone to negative or lower vibrations. And so it actually takes or requires consistent effort for us to stay elevated enough to be able to get these messages from our guides and work on what we had talked about on the other side and planned out. So anytime that we're feeling alone or disconnected, it's really more about that negative or lower vibration of this planet and anything that might be going on planetarily right now, because our guides are always with us. In fact, if we just give it some space, tune out a little bit and quiet our mind, I'm sure we can feel them with us. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute when we talk about how we can communicate and build relationships with our guides. Hi, everyone coming into the room. Hi, Alma. Hi, Julie. Hi, Tina Marie. Hi, Candy. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Hi. Hi, Sharon. So our main spirit guides are usually a transcended soul on the other side, but we can also have angel guides, which include archangel and guardian angels. Archangels are a little bit different than guardian angels. They have, like, there's different ranks in the angel realm, and I think definitely different opinions on the angelic realm and the different ranks there. So do a little bit of research if you're not familiar, find what resonates for you, because as always, we want to be concerned with what really gives us those truth bumps and what resonates for us, and then just leave the rest behind. Let's see, we've got questions here. Yes, I do believe we have spiritual contracts with people that are living on this planet right now. So there are people, oftentimes when we get into a romantic relationship, or really any relationship, whether that's a business partner, a friendship, a romantic relationship, there are things that we had actually agreed to help that person with or have that person help us with throughout that relationship. So I think, there are spirit guides that are on the other side. And then there's also earth guides. And these can be mentors. They can even be people who we find quite challenging, because within challenges, we can learn lessons, and it's through that conflict and that contrast that we learn more about ourselves and understand how we respond to certain situations. And then similarly, what happens too is that if we start having a relationship with someone on this earth, then their spirit guides start working as well. So even that one person that you just grates against your personality, that you can't quite figure out a way to just be at ease around, you guys have spirit guides that are connecting at the top too and working with each other. It really is kind of like a team effort. So that's been my experience. Hi, Tracy. So awesome. Thank you. Candy, that's a great question. I'm going to put a pin in that just for a second. And that is, that's definitely on my list to address tonight. So archangels, there are, I think the conversation around archangels, I don't want to get too deep into each archangel because I think it's always evolving, and I don't think that it's been completely mapped out. But the hierarchy is archangels are of the highest rank. They work directly with God. They float in and out of our lives as we need them, because each archangel has like a specialty that they work with. So again, if you're feeling called to, there's lots of information online. Let your intuition guide you on what you think is accurate. I know I wouldn't bring it up if I haven't actually seen angels before in my meditations. And they always seem to surprise me too. So I know it's not something like I'm expecting, but they're always there. So Archangel Michael, very popular one you've probably heard of before. They're known as, their name is known as God. So what they are is they're like a protector. They're a great, almost like a warrior angel. But anytime that you're in a crisis or a strife and you feel like you just need extra protection, Archangel Michael is the one that you're going to want to call on. They're very, very to the point, poignant, very, it's like a masculine protective energy, even though angels have both feminine and masculine properties. But we could go into a whole show on angels. Then we have Archangel Raphael, which is God heals. Raphael is all about healing and that natural quality. This is usually the archangels for healers, our Reiki masters, our energy healers, doctors, nurses. If you're a healer across the board, even if you write and what you write heals people, Raphael is involved. So whether that's physical or emotional healing, that's something that you'll want to ask Raphael for help with, because they are perfect in supporting us in that health. Then you've got Archangel Gabriel, which is the name stands for God is my strength. And Gabriel is the messenger angel, and all about communication. So especially if we have a message that we want to deliver that makes us a little bit nervous, Gabriel's going to give us the strength to be able to step up to the plate and give us the poise and the grace to give us that communication and the strength therefore. Then you've got Archangel Jophiel, which is God's beauty, and they are the archangel of positive thoughts. So they really try to protect the earth from that negative energy that I was talking about earlier, the lower vibrational stuff that trips us up too often. Then there's Ariel, Lion of God, and they protect the earth. So our natural resources, how we're using them, how we're interacting with our planet. They're the ones that are really helping out and being big proponents for not over consuming or destroying the planet. And, there's a lot that could be said on that alone, but just know that Ariel is there trying to help us behind the scenes. So then there's Archangel Azrael, which stands for God helps. And Azrael has been connected as the angel of death, but not in a Grim Reaper type of way. Azrael is there to help us transition. So they're helping us do a peaceful transition, making acceptance. They're helping us with a life review shortly after we transition. It's more of a natural, loving thing. I think the term angel of death gets a really bad rap because, especially in our society, we're not comfortable with death. But really, it's just another natural transition of our energy. And then the last one I have on my list is Chamuel, which is he who sees God. And Chamuel protects us from fear and some of those lower vibrations. So if Ariel is protecting us from, or protecting the earth from some of those lower vibrations, Chamuel is helping us individually. Let's see, we have some questions. Yeah, yes, and that's exactly EL. That's why they all end in EL, absolutely, because they are like right up there underneath God in a order. Oh wow. I love that. Yeah, I think angels, guardian and arc, can come to us in very unique ways. It doesn't always have to be through meditation. There are so many times in my life that I've been in a similar situation and there was always somebody right there ready to help me, and I know that it was divine intervention. That's awesome. Hi, Nick. All right. So guardian angels, a little less familiar with their names. I would work with guardian angels similar to and develop relationships with any guardian angels that you have, similar to what you would with transitioned souls. So we'll touch on that in just a minute. Another type of spirit guide are ascended masters. I got caught up on my words. I don't want to go too deeply into ascendant masters because I feel like that's another whole show in and of itself. But a few examples of ascended masters would be Jesus, Kali, Krishna, Kuan Yin. These are all highly evolved people that have in some kind of religious text been glorified, but in their real life doings and their ascensions actually made them like a master at what they're doing. So it's like the highest level of spirit guide, ascended master. They've mastered it. Similar to the archangels, there's 22 of them right now, and they all have different properties that they work with, and they kind of float in and out depending on what we're working on. So if you feel called to, there's lots of information out there, like the archangels. You can learn a little bit more about ascended masters, how they became ascended masters, and what they can help you with if you feel called to evoke them. And then, so a really popular one that I think we all have fun with are animal guides. So animal spirit guides, it's not the individual animal, it's like the spirit of the animal. So if you get approached by rhino, it's not just one random rhino, it's the spirit of all rhinos. And each animal, as you can imagine, have their own qualities and they have their own playfulness, personalities. There's a reason why we are approached by the animals that we are approached by. So For instance, when I was starting to get acquainted with my spirit animal, I was really surprised that Snake came to me. And I even tested her a little bit. And she told me, she said, I'll only do this to you once. I'll only do this for you once. And because I was like, are you sure you're my spirit guide? Are you sure you're my animal spirit? And so that day she completely flooded my life with images of different snakes and serpents. And as I got to know her more and developed a relationship with her, it totally makes sense why, as a healing totem and a transitional spirit, that she has come to me. So it's actually been very beautiful. But you too have a spirit animal that offers those qualities that most resonate with you, that you can get in contact with. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Oh, that's so wonderful. The energy of each archangel, regardless of their specialty, is just so intense that it would do that. It's always such transformative, loving, supportive, protective energy, regardless of who you're working with. What a beautiful story. That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, that's amazing. Um, so the last guide that I wanted to just kind of briefly go over tonight is our crossed over loved ones. I don't necessarily think our loved ones were that we had an agreement with them to be our guide, unless we had like a spirit contract while they were here with us to work on things. Um, a little bit different than ancestral. But if you know someone in this lifetime that has passed on, it's not uncommon for them to stick around and continue to kind of watch over you. So I've mentioned before, I have a paternal grandfather and a maternal grandmother who are fiercely and lovingly protective and present. It's not that we had an agreement that when they crossed over that they would do that. It's just something that they felt they wanted to do after they had passed on. Um, and they do, they offer support, they offer guidance, and they might be able to see a bigger picture. They're probably not seeing a picture as big as our assigned spirit guides. Um, and any messages that we get from crossed over loved ones, it's very much like getting advice from our loved ones living today. So you kind of have to, ultimately, because we always have free will, we can hear the messages and may not always take that. And that's okay too. But you can, as you get to know them, take their advice and and make the decision for yourself whether you really want to implement it or whether you're going to pass on it for now, because it's all given with love. But our crossed over loved ones who might stick around and watch over for us, it's like getting advice from a human today, or a living 3D human today. The really sweet thing about that is these crossed over souls, our loved ones, ultimately, what they often do is they've decided to wait to reincarnate until their current earthbound loved ones have transitioned as well. So, like, I don't know if my grandmother will wait on me to transition, but she's probably definitely waiting on my mother to transition, for example. So it's all for our highest and greatest good, and really quite endearing if you think about it. Um, yeah, so I wanted to ask, Nick, I see that. I totally understand that. I think a lot of us are, and that's totally fine, totally natural. My dog is outside the door just barking. Um, If there's anyone, I'm curious, is there anyone else in the room tonight that's had any experiences with their current guides? This could be that they've received messages or they felt presences, but they don't know the names, or maybe they do know the names or they've seen them. Totally curious to hear what your experiences are with your guides. While I'm reading over some of the comments here. Spirit animal is a hedgehog. I love this. Oh yes, this is exactly what I just got the chills. This is exactly how animal spirit guides interact with us. Oh yes, I love this too. And I know like my snake's name is Slithers. She likes to remind me to have fun as well. She thinks that I take things way too seriously. She teases me that I need to use my legs more because that's a gift that I'm taking for granted, and I totally agree. But she also reminds me that sometimes we choose lifetimes for ourselves to have constant transition, and that we might just be like a snake sheds its skin going through these growth cycles. And that's kind of what she's helping me with in this lifetime as well. But they're very playful. Spirit animals tend to be very playful. And I love that about them. We need to listen to them more, quite honestly. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, and often we'll get what happens with crossed over loved ones a lot is that we'll just be going on throughout our day, and then all of a sudden they just pop into our head. Like, wow, it's really weird that my second great aunt on my mom's side would pop into my head, but there she is. That's not just a coincidence, and that's not a mistake. That's literally them saying, hey, I'm here. They're usually just checking in on you. What they would love is for you to recognize in that moment that they're actually there with you. And if you just said, hey, great Aunt Matilda, this is a fictional character in my family. Hey, great Aunt Matilda, I see you and I hear you. I feel your love and I love you too. Like those little instances go huge uh, ways to connect and start building relationships with them. Yes, this is exactly true. So, spirit guides. A lot of the time, so a lot of the ways that or reasons why we have spirit guides are situational. So I'll come back to the situation just a minute, but spirit guides will often communicate with us either through meditation, which will at the end of the show go through a guided meditation that'll help us, especially for anyone who's yet to connect to their spirit guide. It's something that you can try tonight, and then you can practice on your own afterward to see your spirit guide and maybe start a conversation with them. But they'll communicate to us through meditation, through those little voices in our head that tell us you don't want to do that, or you want to take this way home instead. It's why it's really important that I've practiced or I've preached in the past to be mindful throughout the day, to work on meditation to help with that mindfulness, because the more we are mindful through the day, the more space and room we have to receive that guidance from our spirit guides. Um, but they're also really big on giving us little messages through symbols and signs, the random buttons or coins or feathers. The repeating numbers are a big one from our spirit guides. That's often them reminding you that they're there. You might be in a negative pattern or a thought that's all consuming. And that little sign is just dropped in your pathway to say, hey, pause, I'm here, reset. Let's try this again. Let's be a little bit more mindful of what you're thinking or doing in that moment and see if there's a bigger message for you in that too. Just checking my notes. Yeah. So the big one is the little voice in your head for sure. Danny, I hear you. I hear you a lot. when I started this meditation, I'll walk us through. It took me a couple times, and the biggest thing that you're going to want to do is not push too hard. You just kind of want to let it to naturally unfold. But it is how I first started getting to know my spirit guides years ago. Tracy, if that's what your intuition says, I would definitely go with that. You always want to go with your first response. I do know, like our other spirit guides, animal guides will kind of come in and out. You'll have one main guide, but you may have some situational guides that come in too. Like turtle had come to me for a while. Bat was another one that I loved for a while. These are usually animals that we're drawn to. I used to have a loved one that was drawn to beavers, even though they weren't spiritual and they didn't really believe in spirit animals or spirit guides. When I started researching on what the qualities of a beaver was, man, it fit that loved one to a T. I have another loved one right now that has an affinity toward penguins. And again, even though they don't really subscribe to this, when I look and research what penguins mean, I'm like, wow, that's an amazing matchup. So I think our intuition has, especially with our animal guides, our intuition definitely plays a big role in getting to know them better. But you could also use tonight's meditation on getting to know them. Hi, Donna. Thanks for joining. Oh, yeah, Barbara, that's wonderful. And I think, those little things that we do in our homes to honor our ancestors and our loved ones, it opens up gateways of connection and communication with them. So I love anytime we have an opportunity to either cook a loved one's favorite meal and share that with them that night, or my grandma had a thing about buttons and collecting buttons. So sometimes I honor her by placing buttons around the house, that kind of thing. I think is fantastic. Yes, I get this one from my guide a lot too. And so this is a fantastic point. We've talked in the past about how important it is to get to know our energy, because when we do start meeting our guides, then we can start relating back to their energy. And in fact, my guide's name, what we started with, is not necessarily what we always use today. So I met Daniel as someone I had a previous life with. He gave me the gift of seeing some of the past life experiences we had together, which also gave me more information on why he's my guide in this life too. But through some amazing experiences, I also understand his image and his other names from other past lives. And really, you do not want to get hung up on the name or the image. Just like what Tina Marie says, what's important is you notice the energy. The name and the image, and our guides understand this. The name and the image are really they're like tools for us to get and build a relationship with our guides. They're not hung up on it. I know Scotty tells an amazing story about how his guide's name was this long Greek name, and he was having a hard time pronouncing it. And so he said, you know what, just call me this. And it's a random 5-letter American name. So they don't really care what you call them. What they care about is the connection and the relationship that you're building with them. So keep that in mind too. Oh, that's awesome, Greg. Yeah. A couple months ago, elephant came to me, and I didn't even get a name from elephant. I just knew that for a couple weeks there, elephant had come to me to help me with stepping into myself kind of thing, and taking, and showing my big love. So it's really cool to play around with animal spirits and just understand a little bit more about what their intention is with you. It's just so much love. So the different reasons why you would have spirit guides. Like we said, we've got the main guide that's with us from from birth to death in this lifetime. That's like an agreement that we made on the other side where we have kind of planned. It's almost like a project plan, or anyone who's incorporated a performance improvement plan, like here's my strengths and here's what I want to do with them, here's my weaknesses and here's where I want to take them, kind of thing. That guide is with you every step of the way. They are your champion. They are your protector. They're lining things up in your path at just the right moment. And they're always on call. They're always working overtime for you. So the more we can acknowledge them, even if you don't know them, even if you haven't connected to them, one of the best things that you can start doing is just saying, I know you're there. I don't know what you look like. I don't know if you've got a name that you want me to call you, but I want to let you know, I know that you're there and I'm so grateful for the work that you're doing. That is like huge in being able to start that conversation. My guides are very playful because I have a sense of humor. So do they. And they're a little feisty. They're not afraid to call me out on some BS, which I appreciate. That's my personality. In a loving way, obviously. You don't have to be mean about it. And they'll never be mean. But everyone's guides are a little bit different. I have met some other people's guides before, and some were very analytical, which matched the personality of the person that they were guiding. Some are aloof and a little eccentric in a really fun, like Alice in Wonderland type way. And that totally matched what I could tell from that person that they were guiding. So they're all just a little bit different. They all have their own unique personalities, just like we do, which is actually a really beautiful thing. But we have guides for different reasons. We've got the main one, but guides, we have other guides that can come in and out of our lives depending on what we're working with. So like if you are, if you're having a hard time finding a job that you like or a career that fulfills you, you might actually have a life purpose and career guide that just comes in for that brief period of time to help you with those specific things. I have a guide that helps me with self-love. I have a guide that helps me with joy and finding joy and having fun. These are all different reasons why we could have guides. It could be something about getting better health. It could be about getting a new car. I mean, depending on what you need to work on to get that new car, you might have a guide assigned to you just for that specifically. So as you get to see your guides and you practice feeling their energy, don't be surprised when you have more than one. And don't be surprised when some of those come in and out of your life as the need arises. There's nothing wrong with that. But that one that you have from birth to death will be your constant. So there's a connecting with your guides. There's a couple of different ways that you can connect with your guide. You can do something as simple as a casual connection. And this is similar to what I just suggested, where you're literally just opening up a conversation. You're like, you know what? I see you. Let's talk. Here's some of the things that I'm having trouble with. Here's some of the things that I'd really like to have help with. Can you start giving me some signs and some answers on what to do, where to go next? And then over the next couple of days, be mindful throughout your day and see what answers come to you. See what kind of support and response that you might get. If a casual conversation doesn't feel right for you, if you want to set like a deeper intention, you can do something more structured, like have like a little, not ceremony, but like a little ritual that you do where you might light a candle and then you sit down and you take 3 deep breaths, and that's when you try and connect with your guide. The important thing is when we try to connect with our guide, we just allow it to unfold naturally. We let it be what it is. We don't try and question it too much, and we don't try and overanalyze it or think about it too much. That structured attempt to be with your guides that can come in a visualization, such as the guided meditation that we're about to do, or it can come in just a general meditation where you're literally sitting there trying to clear your thoughts, and then any messages or visions that you get from your spirit guides, you're just allowing to come, and you're making aware of it. But after that experience, would recommend journaling it so that you can come back to it and kind of understand a little bit more, like some of the repeat messages or images that you're getting will give you clues as to whom your spirit guide is, or how you can start building a relationship with them. And then I've talked about automatic writing in the past, but that's also another way that you can try connecting with your guide. You can start with something like, what does my spirit guide want me to know today? And then just start writing. Again, let your mind go as much as you possibly can. And whatever word pops into your head, word by word, write it down. Don't analyze the message as you're writing it down. And wait until the words stop and then go back and read the message. My experience with that in the past is that it's always been very poignant, very loving, and very relative to what's going on. So I've had a lot of luck with automatic writing, and that can be just as simple as finding a quiet place where you're undisturbed for about 10 minutes and you're just writing the words that come to you. And then once you connect with your guides, I would highly encourage you to consciously and set the intention to build the relationship with your spirit guides. This can look like having daily conversations with them. I've had picnics with my spirit guides before. I have shared likes versus dislikes with my spirit guides before, and they've all been just a fun little ways for us as humans to emulate connecting a relationship with our guides. And the more time we spend with our guides, the more aware of their personality, the more we can recognize those messages as they come in. All right, just looking for any questions real quick, and then we'll get started on the meditation. Oh, Nida, that's funny. I think my guide's name is Really. Every time something wacky happens, I look around and say, really? And I absolutely love that. I think that is an amazing, the spirit guides love jokes like that. They love attention like that because they're just working so hard for us. And any accolades that we give them is amazing. I love that. I know that's perfect. All right. So if we are ready for a small guided meditation, let's go ahead and take a minute, sit and get comfortable. I'm gonna readjust to my noisy chair. And just position our bodies in a place that we won't have to fidget. And this is a guided meditation that I used so many years ago when I first heard about spirit guides and I went on my journey. And it's something that the more I used it, the more it built upon itself. So you may not get a lot your first time tonight, but remember this visualization. It's not difficult. It's not complex. But remember this visualization and try a little bit each day. If you just keep yourself easy, open, relaxed with no expectations, then I guarantee you'll start to have experiences through this meditation and get to know your guides a little bit better. So go ahead and get comfortable and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and hold it. And exhale. And one more deep breath in and hold it. And exhale. Now we've closed our eyes, and I want us to visualize being on a beach. We have the sand under our feet, and there's no one else on the beach. It's just us. Us, the sun, this beautiful sand, and the ocean in front of us. And a couple of feet in front of us, between us and the water, are two chairs underneath this beautiful little umbrella that's providing like the best shade in the world. And we start to walk toward these chairs. And it just looks so comfortable and inviting. And we just take step by step, feeling the sand under our toes, feel the breeze on our face. We smell the ocean air as we get closer and closer to the chairs. Step after step. And each breath we take, we get closer. And as you reach the chairs, sit in one and just watch the ocean as you relax in the chair. You're in the shade. It feels perfect, perfect temperature, perfect breeze. You could sit here all day and just watch the waves come in and out, and the clouds over the water. You might hear some seagulls. And all of a sudden, you feel someone start to approach. And you don't bother looking around, you just watch the water. Because this person feels like pure love, like an old friend reuniting. So generous and glorious. You just start to smile. You can feel them getting closer. And they eventually take the chair next to you. And you turn to them and you can see your guide. And this is a great opportunity to smile and hug, to enjoy the sensation of being reunited with an old friend. And take a moment to ask them whatever you'd like to ask them. Start a conversation. They're so happy you can see them. They're so happy to be here. You can stay here as long as you want. Getting any messages that you have from them. And you can come back here anytime to meet them. Spending time with them and getting familiar with their energy. And if no one has come this time, that's okay too. to spend your time here feeling your own energy and the energy of the space, because it may be next time they come. And when you're ready, say goodbye to the space or your guide. Show them your love, thank them, give them your gratitude, and begin to walk back from the chairs, knowing that you can return anytime, knowing that your guides are always around you, that they have never ever left you. You can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes and bring your attention back to the space of this room. And take a deep breath in and exhale. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right. What did you guys think about that? Did you meet anyone? Thank you, Tina. Tina Marie, thank you so much. And thank you for the reminder for the feet on the floor. I need to practice remembering that. I'm eager to hear. Let me know if you had any encounters in that visualization. It's one of my favorites. Oh, Kathy, I'm so happy. Thank you. That's wonderful. Doesn't it just feel like light and joyous and just like feeling an old friend? The beautiful thing about that meditation is if you don't resonate with a beach, you can do it on a porch overlooking a beautiful meadow, or you can do it on a tree log in a beautiful forest. You can, whatever is your happy place, whether that's a fishing boat, you can do this and recreate this out of anything that just sets your heart at ease. Oh, wonderful. Oh, it's my pleasure, everyone. My pleasure. And Tracy, that is just fine. Like I said, it took me a couple of times when I first started doing this. Anyone who was, able to have an encounter tonight, amazing. But I didn't expect everyone to, especially when it's guided, because these are better at your own pace. And for the sake of the show, it's a little bit difficult to gauge where everyone's at. I may have started to lead you in one direction when you weren't quite ready. So definitely, I'm available through Facebook. I would love to hear if you guys continue to try this, what you think, and if you have any luck getting a better connection with your spirit guides. The first spirit guide I ever met through this meditation is named Henry. And I just loved my encounters with Henry in the beginning. And he always felt like pure love. He was just pure love. And when I started getting more familiar with my spirit guides, I had come to understand that Henry was actually, he took a different image and a different name so that I would believe that it was, that I was actually connecting with him. But he was actually my paternal grandfather. My paternal grandfather in this life looked very different, and his name is Raymond, actually. But in my spirit guide tribe, his name is Henry, and he's definitely there. He's such a being of love. So everyone is. Oh, wonderful, Danny. That's fantastic. Yes. Donna, that's amazing. Oh, and now, now that you guys have agreed upon a name, you can talk to him anytime like you would a friend in the room. Like, Jeffrey, can you help me out here? What's going on? I do that with Daniel a lot, or Henry, or my grandmother, Wanda. That's awesome. Hey, great. I can pull this out and record it, or I can pull this out and make a recording like I did the meditation from a couple weeks ago and make it available. Definitely encourage you just to play around with the imagery because, again, I may be moving too quick for you or too slow for you in the meditation. But if you think it would help, I can definitely pull this out and make it available to everyone. So that's very much up to you, Tracy. I have had luck meditating in with my legs crisscrossed in easy pose on the floor. I've had luck meditating in a chair with feet on the floor, like Tina Marie had suggested. I've personally had luck meditating laying down, but there's different. I think it's different strokes for different folks. Honestly, a lot of people will have a hard time staying awake laying down. Sometimes I do too. And sometimes people will have a hard time relaxing with their feet on the floor and just sitting in a chair. So play around with that, experiment with different positions. And you can play around with that and see what works best for you. Thank you so much, everyone. All right. That is what I had to share with you guys tonight on Spirit Guides. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it has given you some options to play around with and experiment after the show. Yes, if you ever feel like you need it, definitely ground yourself. And what grounding looks like is just you can sit there with your eyes closed, take a couple deep breaths. Sometimes that works on itself. Or envision tree roots growing from your sacral chakra or your feet down into the earth's core and just soaking up that Mama Pacha, Mother Earth energy into you. That's a fantastic grounding technique. Awesome. That's another great suggestion. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you so much tonight for all the love and the participation. Tune back in here tomorrow night for the Shadow Hour with Greg Koss. And we'll be back again this time next week with our next Truth Bumps episode. So take care, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Good night.